Instead of sitting down and watching the TV, instead of scrolling on the phone, instead of hitting the alcohol, instead of going to the pub and socialising to escape, instead of doing whatever you need to do, sit down and actually think, right, okay, how is my mind working at the minute? How are my emotions set up? What are emotions? What emotions am I feeling on a regular basis? What is triggering those emotions? And let me start to piece this together to understand why it's affecting me so much negatively and how I can start to organise and make it work for me. And that's what we deliver. That's why the meds model is so unique, because that's what we help people do. Again, don't tell them what to do. We help them formulate and find a way to do. Because in essence, that's the power. I wanted to do a bit of a podcast today. Not done one of these for a while, but I think as BeOne is gaining more and more traction, especially last year and coming into this year now, we're having some quite big meetings, and I think quite proud at this minute in time that we're now being recognised, we're now being sought after, and in these meetings, like we're representing ourselves on such a higher standard, and I think it's only due to it's due to the impact that we're having. It's undeniable, the feedback that we're getting when we deliver the workshops from the individuals that kind of come and participate and are there, are kind of going away saying, like, this is really unique. Like, yes, we fall within the mental health bracket. Yes, I have had horrendous struggles with my mental health in previous years. Behavioural issues were off the scale in my teens, early 20s, and then it sank me into horrendous states of mental health issues, and went into horrendous states of drug use and God knows whatever. And I've worked so hard at just transitioning that. But the biggest thing about it is that you hear the word mental health so much. And I think, like, for myself, mental health isn't always a bad thing. Like, mental health is just like having a physical body. So it's just like, okay, physical body. But when someone says physical body, they don't always think, well, okay, well, that means negative. It just means it's a physical body. A physical body could be unhealthy, okay, and negative in that sense, or it could be actually it's a good state of physical health, which would be good. So say with the mental health is just mental health. It's what your mental health is. So as much as mental health could be poor and bad, mental health could also be good and strong. And I think that's what we want to be working with BeOne. We are so proactive in aiding people to understand more about the mind. Sometimes when we deliver a workshop, and our signature kind of program that we run in the minute is called the meds model, and you may have seen it on social media, or heard myself or Christine or Liam talk about it. But meds is quite unique because we deliver a workshop on the mind, on emotions, on decisions, and on structure. And I'm just going to say something quickly. Like, when we do the mind workshop, it's phenomenal. Some of the things that I pose to people, like, they say, like, I've never thought to think about this. Like, some of the things you're saying to me now, like, in terms of, like, what's the difference between a thought and thinking? Like what is the pattern within my thinking at this minute in time? Like, not many people go into that level of depth of understanding. They just live day to day, and their mind just plays. It just goes. They don't take any time to pause and think, right, okay, let's reflect. Let's understand where it's going. Can I take more control over it? Am I thinking about things that I want to be thinking about? Or am I just thinking about things that are really doing no justice to myself and my life? They're making me feel bad or take me in ways that I don't want to go. Like, that power is in your control. That's what we try to show with BeOne. In no point are we saying, like, this is the way you need to think. But what we are saying is you're in control of what goes on in that head. So you might be like, no, Ben, I'm not in control. My head's going everywhere. My thoughts are everywhere. It's like, yeah, they might be doing, but that isn't to say you aren't in control. Just like if you went to the gym, your first session, you might feel really weak and not be able to know the movement patterns, lift certain patterns of weight, or yoga session, you might not be able to get in certain movement patterns. It doesn't happen overnight. So if your head is going chaotic and you've got thoughts going everywhere, you're worrying about this, worrying about that, overthinking about this, catastrophizing about that, can't zone in and focus on one specific thing that you want to go and achieve, that's the brain. That's what it does. An untamed brain does that. So what you need to do is start to train the brain, like you go into the gym and train, like you go to yoga and train. It wouldn't happen off the first session. You'd repeatedly go in and do something, and the outcome of that you would become successful within the movement pattern. You become successful in progressing the weight. Same with the mind. The more you start to train your mind and understand and then train your mind, the more it works for you. It's as simple as that. It's not as easy as that, but it's as simple as that. But most people, and this is where BeOne are very outspoken, are too scared. I say it many times on my own social media, to sit with yourself for 10 minutes, forget the word meditation, to sit, most people, to sit and just close their eyes and sit with their own head for 10 minutes is absolute torture. Yeah, it's absolute torture. They wouldn't want to do it. And it's nothing to do with boredom, okay? Because that's just discipline. It's just saying, right, I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes and I'm just going to listen to what goes on in the head. Because until you've probably started to master creating detachment within the mind, you are going to have thought spiral. Start to think about family, think about friends, think about going out, think about this really bad thing that's happening, think about this person you're really annoyed with, thinking about this situation at work, thinking about these financial issues you've got, thinking about something that's happened in the past that you can't get rid of or can't let go of. This, bam, 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 bam. Okay? It takes a long time of work to start to train the mind to quieten down. And it's all on brainwaves. We can start to slow the speed of the brainwaves down. Okay, we can do that through different techniques I'm not going to go into now. But this is my point. This is how in-depth it is. Like when I deliver a mind workshop, people are sat there kind of in awe in a way, not of me, of just what I'm talking about, because they've never thought to go into this. And this is my thing about mental health. It's like there's so many organizations out there that offer a safe space. Come to the safe space, feel part of a room that's supportive. Speak if you want to speak up. If you don't want to speak up, you don't need to speak up. They're brilliant because they're saving lives. They're giving people a safe space to go. And I'm fully for them. But on the flip of that, I truly believe what's missing, and this is why I'm so passionate about BeOne and any work that I do, it is about some people saying like, there's only so many times you can go to that until it becomes repetitive. The same time you can go to a therapist and just offload and offload and offload and come away and think, felt good for offloading. Perfect. Okay. So what, you're going to wait till the next week and then you're going to go and offload again. And then you're going to go and offload again. So when's it going to come to the point you don't need to offload? When's it going to come to the point you're actually, I'm in a better place now. I don't need to offload because I'm actually dealing with it. I'm doing stuff. I've either dealt with it so I don't need to go and offload because it's done and dealt with, or I'm in a position where I actually don't need to come and offload because I know how to deal with it and address it, or because I've worked on things so that my life is just in a more positive place. Like, this is the truth behind it. And I think like I'm such a big believer in this because since BeOne set up as a not-for-profit and a community interest company, you start to see the amount of charities or not-for-profits that are about. But in my personal opinion, and people feel I'm taking shots here, but I'm truly not, sometimes people are too scared to deliver a hard punch and a hard message. And we're not. I think you've got to take responsibility, and at some point, again, you might be at the stage where you are crumbling and falling, and you do just need to find a space where you feel safe and secure. I'm behind that. But there will also be a point where you're identifying like, I need to sort shit out. I need to move forward. I can't sit in this hole anymore. I need to move forward. I need to start to feel and think better. I don't want my life to be like this. These are indications. These are leverage points, in my opinion. Someone sat down with me, I'll be using them as leverage points. Pain. One of the things I learned in the early days of becoming a personal development coach, we've got two main drivers, pain and pleasure. Okay? And pleasure could be like something you're really excited and motivated to go and do. And that's your driver. But pain can also be one. And that's my journey. I dealt with a lot of pain and I used to sit in it and dwell in it. And then suddenly, through something that happened, I started to realize, actually, why do I not use this pain to leverage me forward? Why do I not use this pain, instead of dwelling in it and letting it make me turn to drugs and drink and violence and doing all these fucking things? Why don't I actually use that pain and leverage it into something that's going to make me successful, that's going to actually bring me a sense of achievement and a sense of being proud of what I've accomplished or done? Or just the fact that I'm a different person now and I don't react emotionally all the time and do things that I regret, and I can wake up in the morning and actually feel good and feel okay and feel positive about my life. And this is the power behind it. But again, there's a lot of organizations and charities that are too scared to deliver that message because it's like, oh, if we said that, like, what if? But it's like, well, what if, man? What if we're too scared to deliver that message that we sink people more and more into the bracket of bad mental health? Whereas a lot of people need this. They need to hear it. And it's not like, I'm not trying to deliver it in to say like, sort shit out. You got issues, sort it out. I'm not saying that. I'm saying do the work. That's the difference. Do the work. Instead of sitting down and watching the TV, instead of scrolling on the phone, instead of hitting the alcohol, instead of going to the pub and socialising to escape, instead of doing whatever you need to do, sit down and actually think, right, okay, how is my mind working at the minute? How are my emotions set up? What are emotions? What emotions am I feeling on a regular basis? What is triggering those emotions? And let me start to piece this together to understand why it's affecting me so much negatively and how I can start to organise and make it work for me. And that's what we deliver. That's why the meds model is so unique, because that's what we help people do. Again, don't tell them what to do. We help them formulate and find a way to do. Because in essence, that's the power. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And I've delivered from a whole scale, from people that have literally been at the point of wanting to take their life. But my message hasn't changed. Yes, I may have gone in to make sure they are in a position they're not going to take their life. But as soon as that's gone through and we've secured that, I've not hidden away from still saying to them, right, at what stage are we going to start to look at this differently? At what stage are we going to start to kind of significantly start to move? So you're not sat in that, or this thing doesn't still affect you to that degree, or that you are going to start to find some purpose and spark, which every single person can find within this world. I guarantee that. It's just having the ability to, and this is where we start to link in through BeOne into kind of self-belief, into confidence, into understanding like how our internal dialogue, how the way we speak to ourselves on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis impacts us, how our environments affect us, the people that we are surrounded by, the way that they speak to us. Even if they're not speaking down to us, they may be speaking in a way that just really doesn't positively affect. It's why I really avoid people that gossip and talk bad about people. I will walk away from those situations. I will cut it short. I'm like, even if that's true, even if you've got that to say about him, unless it's affecting myself or it's aimed at me, I'm just walking right now. I don't need this, right? I don't need this energy. But some people lynch into that, and it's like, what energy are you feeding into? Because again, this is, we talk a lot about where your energy is going, where your focus is going on a day-to-day basis. And there's a lot of tools and techniques that we bring in, and that sounds quite cliche, kind of tools and techniques. Like, what does that even mean? And what it means is, when we deliver these workshops and we talk on an informative basis, and this is me. So I've read some heavy scientific books, okay? And it took me a lot of willpower and determination to do it, just because my lack of education, expelled from school, no progressive or lasting education until I was 30, and then I started to self-study and then also take on some other qualifications that I've now got behind me. But that was hard to do when I was 30, seeming I had no prior understanding. So when I was kind of doing my diploma and other qualifications, and they were asking me to, they were actually teaching at the start how to learn, and I was like, man, this is crazy. You need to know how to learn. So I had to learn that to be able to then learn the other bits. The benefit was, though, I took to it so much and it went in so much because I was applying it to myself. I didn't get into personal development thinking, I want to be a personal development coach, so I'm going to study and learn because I want to go and help people transition their lives. As nice as that actually sounds, that wasn't what it was about. I was a PT, I was a fitness coach, but I was still dealing with a hell of a lot of issues from my past, internally, externally, emotionally, mentally. I was still struggling a lot. My personal development journey and my study was due to the fact that I needed to help myself. So I started to learn and research heavily, thanks to a certain individual, to aid myself. But because of the product, because it actually helped, because it transformed me as a human person, a human individual, human being, I was like, man, this is fucking phenomenal. Like, I have completely changed. If you found someone that knew me 15 years ago, found someone that knew me 20 years ago, they'd be like, this isn't Ben. Ben shouldn't be on this planet, or should be in jail, or should be wherever. If you met me someone 10 years ago, they probably felt maybe something like this, but it's still a complete transition, both visibly. No beard, shaved head, angry look, angry demeanour, not very confident, wouldn't have spoken to who I am now. And this has all been built, but it's been built off purpose and passion. It's been built off the fact that I have now developed my life to an amazing place for me. Success should always be defined by yourself, in my opinion. And although I've got bigger visions of where I want to get to with success, right now, looking back 10 years, I've hit success. Just to be able to say that I have quietness within my mind and I don't have as volatile thoughts in my mind and I don't emotionally react and then regret like I've just done this and now I'm in this much trouble and now I've lost this, and I don't get that as much anymore, if at all anymore, definitely not to the severity I used to. That's success to me, man, because that was horrendous. That was just eating my life away. I didn't want to go to bed. I used to dread getting into bed. The thoughts in my head, I used to dread waking up in the morning, not wanting to be here. Do you know what I mean? It was just a horrendous place. So but I'm not there anymore. Yes, I still have down points. Yes, I still have down times. And I work on myself in those down times. I use them down times. I understand those emotions. I don't run from them. I don't try to escape from them either. Sometimes if you feel angry, if you feel down, if you feel depressed, if you feel lost, there's a reason, like, why am I feeling lost right now? I'm going to sit with it a little bit. I'm not going to always try and transition my state as quick as possible. I'm not the biggest believer in that. It's like, sometimes it's good to transition your emotional state. Go and train, do some cold water, go for a walk. That will make you feel better in essence. There's some physiological and biochemical changes that spark us up a bit and make us feel a bit better. So that's good, but sometimes it's sitting within it. If we are feeling a little bit low, sitting within it, but understanding it. It's not just sitting and dwelling in it. This is the difference. Not just to sit and dwell, to sit and understand. Why do I feel low? Why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel angry? What is that to me? What does that represent? Has something triggered it? Where does my mind go when I'm feeling all of these things? That's inner work. That's personal development. That's you learning about you. And I don't mean doing that in your mind. I mean doing it in a journal or in your phone. I mean starting to piece together actually how your mind and brain is set up, how your brain is set up. Like this, and something I want to bring in, like I say, it's a lot in the workshops. If you look at the top sports people, not in the top sports people, but most professional sports people on a good level that are working with some form of performance psychologist, or even in that area, or even from a more business perspective, but saying business psychologists within that area, this is the level they go into. They want to know what's going on within their brains because they want to perform better, they want to be better, they want to feel better. So they perform better on a day-to-day basis or within their sport or within their business. But when it comes to general population like us, like, why would I sit there and write down what's going on in my head? Why would I sit down and write down my emotional states and what triggers them and what's the outcome? Why would I want to know like how I can start to retrain my brain and in terms of affecting like how my mind works and how I can zone focus to, like, we're too caught up nowadays in the easy and quick fixes of dopamine and, do you know what I mean? Zoning into something, beer, alcohol, drugs, food, Netflix, on your phones, whatever it may be, you jump to them instead of jumping on a journal and knowing down, or even on your phones. When I say phones, I mean going onto something that's giving you an escape. YouTube, Insta, I don't do TikToks, but TikToks in Facebooks, whatever. Like it's an escapism form. And all I'm saying is there's a power in you understanding yourself more. And that is what we deliver so much at BeOne. And that's what we are so super proud of doing, because there's not a lot out there, not necessarily that deliver the information that we do, but do it in the way that we do. We bring both of those together and we're not ashamed of doing that. So guys, I wanted to do this podcast just to allude a little bit more. I'm going to try to get these rolling out a bit more. So this has been informative. I want to give some information as we roll through. I don't want it just to be kind of saying what we are. So I want to start to do these a bit more, maybe give some tasks, maybe give some things to do. But as always, it helps to know if people are listening. It helps to know if people want to hear more and wanted me to delve into other areas. I'll always make it specific as well. Like I'm not on a pedestal by any means. I still experience negativity. I still experience bad times. I still have to deal with my emotions and my thoughts. And I'm still on a learning journey myself. So you'll never get me sat here saying, I'm perfect, this is the way, this is going to transform you to be absolutely beautifully perfect. I'm just real. And also if I take something from a scientific perspective, I'll break it down into language that's understandable because I need to understand it myself. So sometimes I'll read something and think, man, I think that makes sense, but I need to understand it. So I'll then use something else to make it more understandable to me. So that's me just being honest, you know what I mean? Sometimes I read things that are above my head, but I know there's something valuable within it, so I just break it down, put it into something else. That explains it to me. Perfectly understand that. So that's what I try to do as well. So yeah, anyway, hopefully more of these to come on a roll. It's been a busy period for BeOne and myself with other projects, but I'm promising that these are going to be coming out more and more. Thank you for anyone that supports BeOne. Thanks for anyone that believes in the values that we represent. If you are interested in anything that we do, find out anything more, reach out to us. It'd be good to hear from you.